Hello, good afternoon. It is the Everton Daily Live. And the Daily Live, when there's some sort of breaking news-ish, isn't it?
Something big to talk about.
Big. The Friedkin group have been given Premier League approval. It's now with the Oversight Committee, which essentially means that it's just literally making sure the procedure... Well, it's just basically is the procedure being done correctly, which they are, because I don't think you'd have got to this stage without it. And it can't go to the Oversight Committee until it's at Premier League approval, because you'd still go, oh, see this big thing over here? We can't approve it, because you haven't had the approval there. So that's where it is right now. It's pretty much on track. Middle of next week, I think, is roughly when they're saying they expect it all to be done, and the Friedkin group are Everton's new owners. That's what they're looking at. This is what it's been consistent with what we've been told, and it's played out. I actually hoped it would be done by today, but obviously last week, I think it was, we were told it'd probably be
the next week.
But now everything's on track for next week. So really good. Obviously the next stage, we will go big on this next week, obviously, when it is fully announced that it's all finished. There is still a little bit, but it's a formality, what is left, which I think is really good. So that's good.
Just feels like a big weight off the back, really, doesn't
That's
it?
what I was going to ask you. Yeah. How's it making you feel?
I think since joining this channel, it's been a consistent thing that spoke about that, Everton are getting new owners. People aren't happy with Machidi, people aren't happy with Dyche and stuff like that. So I think finally that you're getting a bit of clarity and you can sort of see the end now, that we are going to get new owners, things are going to turn around, it's going to be a bit more positive now. I think it's just a big weight off your back, a bit of a dark cloud removed from the club that, there is a positive, we are making a positive step forward, and there is light now that we don't have to sort of always be like, oh, Everton, our new owners, is this going to get approved? Is what not going to get approved? And just looking on for like the next few months now, we've got a transfer window, which is a great opportunity to, invest in the squad, maybe get a few more players. There's been reports that they have looked at the current management and they're considering whether they're keeping him. There's links with Dan Ashworth. As you said, they've already got people for like the chairman and on the board level and stuff. So realistically, it feels like we're finally getting to the end of this like bad time at Everton, and something positive's happening, and hopefully it's the start of like a new chapter where everything's good at Everton, and we can come on here, we can be happy, and we can all talk about how we're beating every team 4-0, and we're going to the docks and
just crossing the halfway line with the ball would be nice, wouldn't it?
You just don't have to moan anymore.
Yeah. Listen, we all want the same. There's varying different opinions, but ultimately when you strip away the opinions of everybody, we all have the same common theme. We want Everton Football Club to win football matches, play good football, score lots of goals, and be in a place where we don't have to worry about the future of our football club. And I don't just mean where it is in the league table, because obviously with what we've suffered over the last few years, everyone has been in a state of shock's not the right word, but a state of sort of like high pressure as a fan.
Feels like a lot's going on at Everton.
Well, the thing, what you have to look at is we've literally been in limbo for the last few years. When Rafa Benitez was brought in, that was when the first sort of murmurings about PSR was coming in, right? And the drawbridge was then pulled up by Farhad Moshiri. Bringing him in was almost an admission that we're just trying to survive while this ground gets built. He was supposed to come in, probably a bit like what Sean Dyche has done, and just keep Everton afloat while he got this ground sorted. Obviously, it was a terrible appointment because it was never going to work. And we went with Frank Lampard next, and he had the same MO. Can you give the club a spark? Can you keep them moving on? And Sean Dyche is at the same one. But while all that's been going on, Farhad Moshiri have become less and less involved, money-wise, and we've had everything else that's gone with it. The team haven't performed. We've sold a lot of players as well. Yes, we've brought lots in the last year, and that's really helped. But even when you're looking at decisions, the amount of players we've lost over the last 18 months because we didn't have cash for down payments. Yeah. We've had to craft deals or sell someone to get it in. But we've wanted to look further, and everything's been on hold with the ground. Everything while the ground was built. If Moyes still would have been sort of committed and putting some money in and making decisions, it would have felt a little bit different.
Yeah.
Still argue whether he was going to do something that you agreed or didn't agree with. But we've known he's been trying to... I mean, me and you've just been going through the last couple of years for a video we're going to do, haven't we? And that's with him sort of admitting it was this time 2 years ago that Denise Barrett-Baxendale, who's the CEO at the time, wrote in her programme notes that Everton were looking to announce a new investment. She was talking about a partnership and it was going to bring this in and that. It was MSP, basically. And Farhad Moshiri referenced that himself a few weeks later when looking for a striker and all. I'll definitely get you a striker and all of that stuff, and that never happened. But all that was set up around the first sort of bit of information, wasn't it, that we were looking for new investments. And since then, we have been in a state of limbo. We've had MSP, the Kaminskis, we've had 777, the Friedkin, Texter, the Friedkin. Do you know what I mean?
Down.
It's like, Andy Bell and George Down, and you're like, my head is gonna fall off.
Yeah.
Because it's just one thing to the next. And while that's all been going on, we haven't had, as a fan base, any relief from the team.
No.
Of like just being all right. We've had the stresses of that.
Always just about staying in the
exactly, and we're seeing the ground, and it's great. But you're still sort of going, we need new owners though, because this owner's not committed. And so when all that's going on, it's a lot to throw at a fan base. The fans have been incredible in that time. They've backed the team and all that. I think this is just a big line underneath it to go, right, that's the end of that era. And now we're starting a new era. Next week, that new era should begin.
Yeah, I think as well, you said that there has been the stadium, but when stuff has been going wrong at Everton, that's sort of been used as the relief.
Of course.
Sort of tainted that idea that, we have got a big stadium because we lose 4-0 and then all of a sudden Everton's only posting about the new stadium. So I think now that it's just it is a really good chance to just properly reset, and they've came in at a decent time, where there is going to be a transfer window. It'll be after a hard Christmas. So I think everything you said right. It's nice to finally just put an end to everything and not have to worry about them pulling out again or whether someone else is going to try and come in and take it off them. So, yeah, for them to get Premier League approval and then hopefully next week, as you said, it will be done. It's just nice, isn't it? Just to not finally have that thing on our backs. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And you can start planning moving forward, can't you? Yeah. And that's what you've got to look at.
Because even with like players and the manager and stuff, people are saying we don't know whether we're going to keep players, don't know if we're going to keep Dyche, because what do the new owners want? What would they want? And it's just that constant like cycle of we're going to get rid of him, but the new owners don't want him, but then we're going to get rid of him again, and it's
uncertainty.
Yeah, and
where there's uncertainty, things can get shoehorned in. Juan Figueroa says hello from Sweden. Hello, Juan. John Russell says hopefully this news is a kick up the backside for Dyche to try and prove himself to the new owners. But we know he's stubborn. It won't change a thing. I think they've probably made their mind up, in all fairness. But Matt Seddon says, great news. Feels like a giant burden has been lifted off the fans. Let's hope the Friedkins make this great club successful again. Chicken Lip says, let's hope the Christmas party is a leaving party. And my joy knows no bounds. Tom says, first bit of good news. Tom's a YouTube member, says, the first bit of good news in Groove's time. Young group.
I'll take it.
Young group. It's good news,
I'm happy today, so I'll take it.
Gary Waters, Adi Chad says, here we go. I like it, Chad. I like it. Here we go. Juan, done him. Blue Keeley says, telling myself not to get my hopes up yet. It didn't work. Hopes are up that we are reaching the shore, as John would say. Yeah, I think we are, mate. I think we are. Ryan says, afternoon, lads. Hope you're doing well. Bit of exciting and relieving news to hear that the Friedkin deal has been approved by the Premier League. What will be the first task that they should do as soon as they get their hands on the club? What do you think, James?
I think for me, it's sort of get that support in the man, whether they're going to keep Dyche or whether they're going to get rid of him. Because I feel like the two big questions have been the owners and the management of Everton. So I think if they come in and say, we're going to stick with him, we believe that, we'll keep Everton up and then next year we go on. Or they go, we're going to change it and we're going to get someone like Graham Potter and Dan Ashworth, for instance. So I think for me, the first thing that they come in is that they just make that clarity on what's going to happen at the management level. So, everyone watching Everton at the minute, even in his press conferences, it just seems like there's an uncertainty around Dyche's future in general. So I think just, backing him or not backing him, I think it's important that gets done fairly quickly. And then that sort of thing on our backs, that cloud hanging over us, can be removed as well.
Do you think they're going to back him?
No. I don't. But there was stuff saying that they're going to give him time and stuff, wasn't there? But I think it's not done enough, really.
Yeah, I think, me personally, I think that the piece that come out the other day, I think it was Alan, wasn't it? Alan Myers who did it.
This guy.
The other day, reading between the lines of that means if they get approval on Wednesday, he's not getting sacked on Thursday.
Yeah.
That's what it means. Yeah. Listen, Everton could get pasted tomorrow and that could hasten the decision. I think they'll come in, he'll have a few more games and they'll see how he does. If Everton don't get a win in the next 2 or 3 games, and it's difficult because the teams they're playing, there'll be a decision made because there's no excuses. There's no excuses. If Everton were to lose the next 3 games, that's 3 wins in 17 matches. That's sackable, isn't it?
But do you not think, from what you're saying there, where Alan Myers did put that article out and people having to read between the lines, that it's sort of that uncertainty that's like brewing around the club, really?
Yeah, but I think
they need to sort of put in stone whether we're going to give him the next few games or they're going to say, yeah, he's gone, we're just looking at replacement, or we're going to back him. Because
I'm just reading
that article, it is
no, but there is, but that's probably because they've not come out and said anything, because they're what the Friedkin group have done, and whether people like it or they don't like it, they've remained ultra professional all the way through. So we saw with 777, there was horror stories all the time, wasn't there? Even with Kaminsky's, when they were the first group, because when we were going out to the States to watch Everton a couple of years ago, telling you, they were rumoured to have had the deal agreed by the time we played in Minnesota, because that was where they were from. There were stories immediately. I spoke to David Maddock, who's a sports journalist, and was like, these haven't got any money, so I don't know what this is all about, you know what I mean? With John Texter, lots of great word, lots of fight and talk, the kind of thing fans want to hear if you can follow up on it. But we all knew he had to sell the Crystal Palace shares to do it. So it was almost like, and I think he's come out and said, without that, he'd have probably owned the club.
He said at one point, didn't he, that it was like 99% done.
But the Friedkins they knew exactly what they're doing and have got a better deal and all of that stuff. But they have not said a thing. They've not gone, we're taking over Everton, we're going to win the league, they've said nothing. And they're still saying nothing, are they? So the uncertainty for everybody else, they might be really certain. They might be like, we know who the manager's going to be and we know who this is going to be. I find it difficult to believe they're going to keep him because nothing has been said about them keeping him. All that's been said is they'll assess it when they get in. I'm led to believe they've been well assessing it as they go. And if you just look, all you can do is, when you don't know too much about someone, all you can do is look at past behaviours. So look at Roma. Roma are on their 3rd manager this season. And have won more games than Everton. So they made a change with a legend after 4 games. They changed them. They put someone in. They got it wrong, my opinion. When they appointed them, I was like, that's a strange appointment. They appointed him. They removed him after 10 games or 12 games, whatever it was, because that wasn't right. And they've put Ranieri in. And they've said they'll leave him in all season and they'll make a decision on the new manager come the summer. They're identifying the new manager. We'll see. But
why do you think, if you said they have been analysing Everton and whether they're going to keep him, why aren't they just saying, when they come in, saying, yeah, we're getting rid of him?
Because I suppose,
if they've already seen, there's no shot to anyone. The results haven't been good. So.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not I don't know them and I've never spoken to them, so
it's just a bit
for me
awkward to understand, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm looking and going, again, you look at history, don't you? So history tells you every person who took over a club I've made a decision almost immediately.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. You said if they come in Wednesday, they're not going to sack him Thursday, and he will get the next few games. But why? If they already know his time's done at Everton, and he's not really shown anything.
No, but that's it's a really good point.
Yeah.
Because I do this with other. This isn't just an Everton thing. I've done this. I say this about Lopetegui. If they're saying you've got to win, like he had to win the El Sacico. On Monday, it's about his fourth. Realistically, it's about his fourth time he's had to win.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're basing it on one result and going, well, if you win Saturday, we won't sack you. That's how problems come in. Mm-hmm. The best decision makers are the ones who identify the issue and go, "We're changing it."
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you win or you don't. Mm-hmm. It's irrelevant almost because we've made the decision. You think of.
Well, even if you look at Everton now, we beat Wolves 4-0, but he still should go.
Yeah, but that doesn't really make... Yeah, that didn't change any... If you've decided he should go, then the 4-0 shouldn't make any difference. Yeah. If you've decided he should stay, then if Everton had got beat 2-1 by Wolves, that shouldn't have made any difference. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, aren't we? And I think back to like Liverpool with Klopp. Brendan Rodgers had nearly won Liverpool the league a couple of years before. Now, okay, they weren't at the same sort of level, but they made a decision.
Yeah.
They just went, we can get this fella who is better and we're going for him. And he was out. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And the next fella was in. Brighton with De Zerbi. Yeah. I thought De Zerbi done a really good job. Now, okay,
he had links to like Man United. And
exactly. They drifted near the end of the season. Mm-hmm. They drifted and they ended up, would have been below Everton actually, the way if Everton wouldn't have had the 8 points, on the same points on goal difference. But they made the decision that they were removing him. And they had Hersele all lined up. But they made that decision from a manager that had took them into Europe. They weren't in any danger of relegation or anything. In fact, they just fell off near the end. They would have finished even higher and may well, with a couple of different results, qualify for Europe again. They didn't, granted. But they made the decision, didn't they? They went, this fella is done.
Not for us, yeah.
We're changing him. And he went. And you see other clubs do it. You know, you look at Bournemouth with Gary O'Neill. Gary O'Neill, my opinion, done an incredible job at Bournemouth. Scott Parker got beat 9-0, came out after Anfield and said, these players are rubbish.
Yeah.
Like, they're not good enough. You haven't bought me what we needed. We're going down. Gary O'Neill came in without much. They didn't really give him anything. They grabbed him a couple, like Uatara in the January. But in the August, he just took over. Bournemouth in no trouble last season. Kept them up. And what did they do? Sorry, it was the season before, wasn't it? Got to the end of the season and just went, thanks, Gary, but we want this fella over here because in my opinion, he's better. So if you make the decision, and this is what I keep saying about Lopetegui, and it's what I couldn't understand with Ten Hag, and it would apply to Sean Dyche, it probably applies to other managers as well. If you're putting it on a game and going, one game, win this and we'll keep you, well, that means you're erratic in your decision making. Now, if the Friedkin group, and again, we don't know, I'm just using it because when new owners have took over football clubs, they want their own person. Yeah, it's just the way it goes. They want to make the mark. And therefore, whatever happens, they might look and go, we've got a January transfer window where we need to strengthen the squad. So we're putting our efforts into making cash available. It's not a PSR issue with Everton, it's a cash issue with Everton. And Sean Dyche isn't the man to take us forward. But coming in on Wednesday and sacking him on Thursday and giving it to Leighton Baines for Sunday, and while we're trying to get the new fella in, some people might go, yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah. But others might go, well, we've got 3 tough games in a short space of time. We might make the decision after Man City on Boxing Day. So I don't know. They might give Sean Dyche till January. They might give Sean Dyche till the end of the season. Who knows?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if results don't pick up, then results dictate. There's no excuses for why Everton have only won 3 games of football. In my opinion, there's no excuses because it's terrible. Yeah. And it's a terrible record for everybody. We've won 8 games of football in a year. Do you know what I mean? So that would put any manager under pressure. Pep Guardiola apparently is under pressure. City are going, what do we do? This is a fella that's done everything. He's won everything. But when it comes to the end, I'm saying it is for Pep, and he's that good he could turn it round, of course. Managers have cycles, and you see the end coming. And I just think maybe that's where we are with Sean. Like, the end of that cycle might be, it's just happened. And it happens at other clubs with other managers. You sort of look and go, they're kind of at the end of that cycle. Ten Hag was at the end of it, wasn't he? United won a trophy in both of his seasons. Yeah, but you look at him and go, it's just coming to the end. Doesn't mean he's not a capable manager. Doesn't mean Sean Dyche, if Everton parted with Sean Dyche, doesn't mean he hasn't done a good job, as in he's done what he was asked to do, which is make sure Everton didn't get relegated.
He's done his goal, but
that's it, isn't it? But what I'm saying, if Everton weren't taken over, or if the Friedkin group had took over and they'd let this all go on, then I would probably be thinking they're probably just going to leave him because they would have made the decision. Do you know what I mean? I'm just saying it from new owners' perspective, because you have seen it so many times. When you see it so many times, if you bought a business, you'd want to put your own thing on it, wouldn't you? You wouldn't buy a business that is failing and leave everything as it is, would you? Because you go, well, that's
why it's failing.
In a sense, that's what Moyes did. Yeah. He didn't do it on the team, so he was very good at getting rid of a manager if they lost 3 games, which is fine. But on the other side, he did just leave a failing business and allowed it to fail. Allowed them to knock on his door and go, can we have some more money? Instead of going, shouldn't you be creating money through sponsors and player sales? And, are you doing that? I don't mind giving you some, but shouldn't you also be doing better? And he didn't. And that's where the club has sort of stood still. But everyone will have different opinions and things will happen, but I just don't think, me personally, I could be massively wrong here, of course I could. I can't see them sort of getting the announcement being made and they're the new owners, and the next day Sean Dyche is relieved of his duties. I can't see it, but I also don't think there'll be a statement saying he's the manager for the rest of the season either. I think they'll just get in and go, let's get our feet under the table for a week or two, and then we'll make a decision. Of course they know. They probably know what they're going to do.
Yeah. Do you think it would change, though, that idea, say, if West Ham and Wolves both sacked Gary O'Neill and Lopetegui, that then there would be that more of a market where other people are going for the targets that we want?
I think it hastens it, yeah. Absolutely it does, because...
So, like, for instance, say they both lose this weekend badly, they both get sacked Monday morning, then do you reckon they come in and like, oh, they're going to go for our target that we've planned out the past few months, and then they sack him? Would you not see that?
No. Yeah. It does it. Teams and owners get twitchy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If it depends, I guess. If and it's a big if, Everton have gone, we're changing our manager. So that's on Kevin Thelwell, isn't it? Because he at this moment he's the expert in that for Rome, for the Friedkins. Quite sure they've took, because they will have done. They got Retexo, didn't they, involved, and they do recruitment and all that, but they also do like director of football recruitment and managerial recruitment. So they may have took advice, not saying they've said get us a manager, but they may have took advice for how they want to do things. Yeah. And they might look and go, they could have said it's Graham Potter, or they could have said it's Sergio Conceição. We think he'd do a good job at Everton. Say, just using names that were free at the moment. There's Terzic, another one, and there are others as well. They might have identified one of those 3. And then all of a sudden, Wolves and West Ham are looking for a manager. Yeah. And they want them as well. And Everton go, oh my God, we're going to lose Conceição. He was our number 1 target and we could have got him. But West Ham are coming for him. No. That's where it might hasten it for them, because sometimes pressures from other... It shouldn't, because if Everton have made a decision, you should already have had those conversations with someone and given assurances that they're your manager and give them the date you plan to do it. But if Everton haven't done that, the Friedkins haven't done that, then if you're that manager, haven't Everton go, oh, we like you, James. That's great. But if West Ham go, James, there's a contract, and Everton are like, James, we like you, we might make that decision in a few weeks. You're not going to wait for me to go, James, come and sign. If someone's going, James,
we'll give you the money
there's
now.
A contract for you, mate. You're going to go there. And then that puts me, as Everton, in a difficult position then, because then I'm going, James was our number 1. Yeah. God, what happens now? Do you know what I mean? And that is probably where it is. So you're right, it can hasten a decision. If that is the decision, that might not be the decision.
I think as well, though, if we go back to what our conversation yesterday, which give a bit of context, was there's so many players that Everton have at the minute that are out of contract, and so many young players who a decision on like their future, whether they're going out on loan or they're going to be sold, needs to be made. That, do you think they're looking at that and thinking, if he comes in after the Man City game, like we get Graham Potter, that he'll have enough time to make a decision on whether, say we get a 10 million offer for Calvert-Lewin, do we sell him or do we keep him, or is he going to keep Nathan Patterson and play it, or is he going to get him out on loan, or Jake O'Brien, for instance? Do you think sort of that needs to be involved in the decision as well? Do you think they would have been looking at Everton's team and analysing what players and how they're going to adjust it? Because for me, we were speaking about it yesterday, weren't we, that Calvert-Lewin, say if someone offered 10 million, that's good for Everton because obviously he's run out of contract, but for the way we play, there's no promise that like Broge is going to stay fit or whether they're going to loan Schmidt out, and Better's already looking like he's going. So for me, it's like whether that manager's going to come in and he's going to be fine with just having Broge and Beto, for instance. And I think that's sort of, I'd say a bit of a worry is that there's so much uncertainty around the squad right now, because what is it, 12 players out of contract too, that you want the manager to come in and just they have a bit of an assurance as well on their futures. And I feel like, I don't know, if you're Calvert-Lewin, and are you going to be really interested in playing for Everton right now because you've only got 6 months left, but the same breath for the other players who've also only got 6 months left. So it's making that decision on them, whether you're going to get replacements. And then players like what we were talking about yesterday, like Idabunam, Schmidt, Patterson, O'Brien, are they going to stay and be a part of the squad? Because right now it's not going to help the development if they're not playing, or are they going to go out? So I think that's sort of something else that I'd like assurances on them. What it's going to be like with them.
If you're a manager out of work, right? Difference if Everton decided Sean Dyche wasn't the man, and then said Thomas Frank's our number one. Say that's a bit different, right? And Everton speaks to Thomas Frank, and he's like, "Yeah, I'd love to come." And Everton thrash your deal out with Brentford, whatever, £7 million, and you pay that for it, and you get Thomas Frank, and he comes in and might assess it then, mightn't he? Starts doing the work then, because he's been tied up with Brentford. Everything's been Brentford, and then all of a sudden it's Everton. So that's a difficult thing, and that's when I think you do exactly what people like Amarim have done at United, which is I'm going to look at all these players before doing anything. Arne Slot done it at Liverpool, didn't he? There was players they were talking about, people coming in, players they wanted to sign, and players who were leaving. And he was like, no one's going anywhere, and we're not bringing anyone in till I've assessed this. I mean, looks like a masterstroke now, doesn't it, what they're doing? But Liverpool fans were fuming because they obviously wanted different players brought in. But he'd done that. He had the luxury of doing it across and that's one way of doing it. But if I'm Conceição, Eden Terzic, Graham Potter, or another manager not currently in work, but David Moyes, just saying names that have been spoken about. If I'm out of work now, I should be doing that work. Because Everton will have, or an agent will have let his client know that Everton are interested in them. Yeah. Because that's just how football works, right? So if you're looking at that and going, am I interested in that Everton job? And you go, say it's Graham Potter, right? And he goes, I've been out of work for a while. I want to get back in. Everton's a big club, new owners, new stadium. That squad's better than it's showing, and I can put a twist on it. I'll have to get other players as well. Whatever. You should be assessing everything about that squad. And they will be, because it's what they do. So that when they walk in the door, they've got 90% of a clue about what they're going to do with the current squad. Now, they might get in the door and go, oh my God, Patterson's really good. He never plays him. Why? Or Jake O'Brien. God, Jake O'Brien should be, maybe 3 at the back, and Jake O'Brien should be one of these. He's better. I haven't really seen him. I didn't realise how good he was till I come in the build. Or it might be you're going, yeah, but definitely keeping Calvert-Lewin in the team. You get in, and in training, brilliant, playing a different way. Great. Or Chimity's fit and all. You're going, this Chimity, he suits me better, actually. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. Yeah. So there'll always be those variables when you get in and you're at Finch Farm and you're watching the players train. You might get a different idea. Someone you've sort of written off might go, oh my God, he's actually quite good. He'll work for me. Or someone you've sort of thought he'll definitely work. You get in and go, Actually, no, because we're going to do something different. It's more difficult when you're coming from club to club.
Yeah.
And I would like Everton to go for Thomas Frank. I really would, if they decided to make the change for Dyche. But I don't know whether we'd get him.
Not convinced, yeah.
It's not I don't believe Thomas Frank will come. Because I think if you offer him the right deal and you're putting all of the positive stuff in front of him, I think it's a no-brainer. I think Everton's ceiling is higher than Brentford. Brentford are a great club and are doing brilliantly, and I love watching them. Everton have got a higher ceiling, financially higher ceiling, because of the fan base, the history of the football club, what the stadium's like. Got to get it right, of course. We've proven over history means nothing.
Yeah.
We've proved that in the last 10 years, really, haven't we? So, but if you're going for one who's out of work, they should have done their due diligence right now and should know everything about our squad, really. Give them the data you can get now, and they'll all have Y-Scout, and they'll all have Opta, and there's so many, every game sort of filmed. You can watch all sorts of players. They should have a real extensive sort of idea of every one of our players and the way they can play, and if they've got a different formation, the way they're going to play it. Because someone like Conceição, he's a sort of like a defensive 4-4-2, though. He's a bit like Simeone, a little bit more progressive than Simeone, but it is that. And Everton have got 4 strikers, so you go, well, we've got 2 that can play immediately in this formation. Then have we got 2 midfielders that can cope? Who knows? Depends. 2 wide players, what do they look at? Do you know what I mean? So we would be able to look at that. Coming in and going, right, I'm assessing the squad from day one. That's the worry. Yeah.
It's just more so that, I don't know, like, what's their idea is going to be with it all. But yeah, it makes sense what you're saying. Like,
Tom says, it is a YouTube member, could we improve the current squad by going into lesser European markets and picking up a new right back, left back, right winger for 15 million? Worth a shot in Jan. Low value, low rush. Well, that's what Roma wanted to do, isn't it? That was Roma's sort of MO this year, was basically, basically buy players sort of 23 and under. I know they've made Dovbik 24, I think, and he paid a bit of money for him. Yeah. But in general, that's what they sort of done, and that's for us. That's gonna be the only sort of way we will. We'll be able to bridge gaps is by marginal gains, is by getting younger players doing sort of what Brighton done, then create them.
Don't you? They've got loads of like South Americans and stuff that are really young and then have went on to do amazing for them, and they've sold them for loads. And
make the money,
just starting to do that for Everton.
Yeah. Right, Everton Vikings says, what's this weird feeling of hope, potential joy and happiness? Surely not. Mike Raff says, thank God for that, don't think could take any more. The hope they've already have someone to take over from the clown. Matt Gibson says, afternoon gents, I can't get on board until the necessary sacking has taken place. They've been around the club for 2 months. If they don't get the urgency of the situation by now, then that concerns me massively. Josh says, January plans, sack Dyche, sign 3 world-class players, mount a charge for Europe. Come on. Not the Europe, come on. Tom says, slowly coming round to the idea of Graham Potter now. In his 3-4-3 at Brighton, he had Webster, Duncan, Byrne, which he could replicate with O'Brien, Tarkovsky and Branthwaite. Personally, I think Patterson and McNeil are ideal as wing-backs, and Jai and Lindstrom are comfortable inside 10s. If we could get Ashworth as well, it'd be a massive bonus. Yeah, there's other managers as well, isn't there? But yeah, why not? Graham says, please, no more Dyche. Gavin says, very exciting, also love the black and blue shirt. Yeah, you know what though, they weren't done intentionally till we had 2 black ones up, and then it was like, let's get Yobbo as well on the go, and they look quite nice. Emma says, so I just got back from a first date. It's right, Emma. Thank God he doesn't watch this show. Decided to listen to yesterday's show. Yes, I did, and I missed the live. Only to find talking about wearing fishnets. Now, I didn't know anything about this until I came in, so I just popped the question.
I don't remember it, I was here.
You were there? Is Ped making me famous or infamous? Twice I've been asked if I'm Emma off Toffee TV. There you go. Well, you're doing something right then. Ian the Blue says, stand by for Operation Cop-Eye Few. You didn't answer the question either, Emma, to be fair. James says, great news, but we've got to give them time, whatever they decide to do, going ahead. They've got to really there's some low-hanging fruit that they can pick off immediately, and they've got to get, they've got to really start getting the messages out immediately of what they're hoping to do, and try to get everyone on the same page as much as they can. We'll wait and see. Mike Barrett says 1 down, 1 to go. Brian Murray, hello Brian, heard from you for a while, says severe weather warning, blue tsunami about to rise fast. The blue wave, that's what the going to be called up on anymore. Royal Blue says, Rich, is it done completely or just in the Premier League? Well, it's on to the oversight process, Rich, which is a tick box. So, dotting I's and crossing T's, middle of next week, should be officially handed over to them. Bainey says, afternoon boyos, I'd be very surprised if they come in and not change the manager. They will have everything ready and probably the manager's penciled in and ready to go. They know football, and but hopefully, and will already know that this isn't the guy. Blue Keely says, Dyche was at the end of the cycle last season when we went 18.7 years without a win.
Yeah.
I think
that 1 week though.
Well, yeah, they had a good week. What are you on about? I think the Friedkin group will sort the business side out, get a real board in place, and give Dyche a few weeks depending on results. Yeah, probably. Steve P says, personally, I don't see it as a risk selling Calvert-Lewin. What's the risk? He doesn't even score. It'd be a different story if he was scoring goals. Saying it because he's the only one who shoots the way we play hopefully won't matter for much longer anyway.
Yeah.
And the way we play literally doesn't work anyway. So someone tell me what the risk is. We have 3 other strikers who could all work better under a different coach that actually plays football.
Yeah, I think he's right. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm the biggest Calvert-Lewin fan in the world, but I think for the strikers...
I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to announce then that you're the biggest Calvert-Lewin fan.
I'd be playing Beto since the start of the season if it was up to me. But I think for what he brings, like, I know the tactics are going to change, but I was more so meaning if they don't change the manager, like, the way he wants to play, it suits Calvert-Lewin the most. I don't know, he doesn't. It's hard to say, doesn't it, because he doesn't really score, but risking it all by, like, saying if they sold Beto, which is probably what's going to happen, it's a risk just leaving it all on Schmidt and Brozier, which was the question that we got asked yesterday, which was what I was referring to. But I think if it's just between them 3, then you can't really get rid of him because of just the experience he's got and of just being like that Everton striker. I do think you're right though, he doesn't score enough, so it wouldn't change much. But for the years he's had at Everton, that experience and how we play, you sort of got to stick with him for now. But
okay. Sorry, just spun out of there. James Graham says Harrison Armstrong had a great game for the 18s. He did. Would like to see him and Dixon around the first team a lot more. Well, he has been around the first team, basically sub every game, isn't he? It's whether or not you've got a manager that wants to play him. Sean Dyche has had him in all fairness, and he's had him training with him. He just hasn't sort of trusted him longer. So he's just got to keep doing what he's doing. It is a bit of a difference from the Premier League going it back into the youth, the under 18s. It is a big difference, and he's probably not even affected the game like that at 21 level. He's only 17 himself, so we have to be careful with him, but he looks like a really good prospect. Yes, I'm on to Samuel Dahl, but he's Roma's left back, but he does look good. Swedish left back, he does look good, Steve. Maybe Roma, maybe we just say to the Friedkins, we really need another left back, so you may as well give us him. Don't know, Stuart, we do need to sort the next Toffee TV night. I'm not going to lie and say it's going to be before Christmas because it clearly isn't, but we will get it sorted and then put in here. Get yourself there and we can all meet up again. Jay says, yes, get in. Merry Christmas blues up the Toffees. Ian says, the problem with us going for Thomas Frank is the compensation package Brentford had once. Didn't we approach Marco while he was still mid-season at Watford and they complained for tapping him up? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, but managers are approached all the time. So you have to go to Brentford and say, we want to speak to Thomas Frank. What are you, like, money-wise, what do you want for him? If Brentford say there's no way on earth we're letting him go mid-season, then that's the end of the conversation, isn't it? Because if they don't... I don't know what happened with Silver. I think... Well, I do. Mancheri was obsessed with him and obviously did tap him up. Yeah. And Marco sort of spat his dummy and wanted to go. And then what the problem Watford then had was they stopped winning. When Everton tapped them up, they were flying. They'd won like 4-2 at Chelsea and things. Like, they were brilliant and they were doing really well. And they stopped the minute it got out that Everton wanted them and they were trying to sort it out. And Everton didn't want to pay what Watford wanted for him as well. At the time, it become messy. And Watford, I think, won one in something like 9. Yeah. And then they got rid of him because it clearly wasn't happening. And Everton had already appointed Sam Allardyce by the time they got rid of him, so that's why they waited. But everyone knew he was going to be our manager at the end of the season. Yeah. And Mancheri went and got him. So you'd have to have a conversation with Brentford if Everton wanted Thomas Frank and say, how much would you want for him? We want him. We'd like the chance to speak to him to see if he's interested. And if that was the case, how much would you want?
Isn't it that Brentford, like, they have a price tag for everyone?
Yeah. Like, so they'll know. Yeah. They might say 5 million, 8 million, 10 million, don't know.
They won't hold on to him just because they want to keep him. That's their like way of.
That's how they. Yeah. That's their model. Jay says I mentioned the action park yesterday, class action. I've been dipping in and out last week or so. Missed you talking about it. It's mental, but I haven't watched it. Ped watched it and talked about it the other week. Andy Goff says Premier League to deduct 10 points from Everton because Lee Ty was jailed for bribery. Yeah, Lee Ty has been sent to prison for bribery in China, which is not great, of course.
It's not ideal.
Not ideal at all. Andy Goff says, afternoon, lads, hope you're well. Yes, we are very well, thank you. Andy Nick says, up the Friedkin Toffees, I like it. Stu Lowe says, what if we had a mixed Everton recent greats, like Rooney, Hammers, Etu, Lukaku, up against the rest of the world? Similar first game at Bramley Moordock. Nice idea. Nice idea. Emma says, you missed the bit out where I said I was driving Baz putting to bed this rumour that I'm a goth, or am I just breaking the glass ceiling for goths everywhere? Emma, I don't have a clue. I want you to tell me. This is you. Ped isn't here to talk over you or to
shout at you.
To shout or to say things. So you put the record straight now.
Are you a goth or not?
Are you a goth? Do you wear fishnets? What was his other one? Something else. You can put it all to bed now and I will repeat it for everybody to tick it off for everyone. Therefore, making that the goth chat redundant. It's up to you. You've got the power, Emma. Nick says, how does it affect our January transfer window? Will we be able to spend on a left back and right winger? Well, they make the cash available, yeah. Yeah. Steve P says Ismail Decore looks very good from Strasbourg, comfortable at centre back and defensive mid, powerful, good on the ball. Should definitely be looking at him, can play right back. They got a team full of talents. Habib Diarra as well. Well, Everton have watched Diarra on a few occasions. Looks a good player. And yeah, definitely Everton are in the hunt for a midfielder as well. Definitely the left back. For Michalenko, back up for Michalenko or someone to compete with Michalenko. Ken Wilson says Newcastle are trying to get Richarlison.
That'd be a mad one though, wouldn't it? If you think about it. Because why do you play up front and Callum Wilson, who's always injured, to be replaced by Richarlison, who's now always injured?
Mad, isn't it?
I'd still take him back though.
It's really grim because he'd love to come back here and we'd love to have him back, but we'd have to get him back on loan. But to get him on loan, we'd have to get rid of Jack Harrison to get him on loan. So I don't see that happening. Paying for him wouldn't make any sense because he can't stay fit. And what would they want for him? 40 million. You're not paying that for him. You can get much better value.
He's been linked to the Saudi league, hasn't he?
So,
which would be a shame.
Keith Lynn says, can someone phone a taxi for Dyche? Ban94 says the perfect Christmas presents, up the Toffees. Daniel says, is it worth sacking Dyche right now? Arsenal, Chelsea and City, would it not be better to wait until a Forest game for a bit of a bounce? Well, yeah, that's what I think they might do. I don't know. But if you were an owner, you might look at them three and go, you bring someone in now, momentum's going to go, isn't it, immediately?
Yeah.
But then there is if it was Potter that run this scenario with you before, they chose Potter, then Chelsea at home mightn't be a bad first game for him, given the history he's got. The bounce for Evertonians.
Everyone's going to be up for
who
that.
knows? Who knows?
You're not against, though, using the interim for the next few games and then getting them, seeing if you can get the interim bounce like we did with Ferguson? I think it's just too big of a risk.
Let's just leave. There's no... You're putting someone else to the sword, though, aren't you? Sean Dyche is still a capable manager, so if you're going to change him for your manager. But if you're just doing it for the sake of it, while you go, well, what should we do? Do you know what I mean? If you go let's sack Sean Dyche and let's put Leighton Baines and Paul Tate in for 3 games, and then we'll put Conceição in for the Forest game and get the bounce. Well, you may as well. That's putting pressure on Baines and Tate to get results at Arsenal, City, Arsenal, Chelsea and City. Yeah, they might get a bounce at Goodison. They may well do. Sean Dyche might win the game against Chelsea. So you sort of look and go, Whereas at least if you're giving Dyche the 3 games, they don't go to plan. You then look and go, look, you've had 17 games and you've won 3 of them, mate. That we are in trouble, so we've got to make the change. And then you might either get the manager in between City and Forest, or you might do what you just said and go, thank you very much after the Man City game. Leighton Baines and Paul Tate take the team against Forest at Goodison at the weekend, and we will have our new manager in place by the time we go to Bournemouth the following week. And you do it like that. Therefore, you're getting a bounce for that one game of a home after Christmas against Forest. Are really good, by the way. Not like Forest at Southampton. Game, but with the crowd and that little bounce, knowing a new manager's coming in, whatever, that might give you that little thing, knowing that the new manager's coming in. Who knows? Who knows what they're doing? Fletcher says Carlo was my best ever Christmas present. James says Dyche has got to go before January. Emma says Dyche and Thelwell gone, then Sage the gaff. Ken says great news, guys. Thanks for sharing. My 10p worth. Get Dyche out. Bob says don't back him. Do me a favour. Get shut of him. The Running Toffee says, how do you think the club will announce this? Lots of fanfare, like when we sign a new player manager, or low key. I think it'll be quite low key, because I think that's what they're like. There'll have to be some mission statement from them, clearly. And that might be simply announcing a chairman and maybe announcing a new CEO or something on a new board. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know. Fanfare's great, and I want to hear ambition. I want to hear their desire to get Everton back near the top of the league, up there like we were all those years ago. And that should be the drive and aim to win the Premier League. Doesn't mean you're going to win it. Doesn't mean you can get closer, but that should be your drive and aim. No stone's going to be left unturned and all of that. But ultimately, it's what you do, isn't it? Words are easy, aren't they? Farhad Moshiri said lots of words about what we were going to do, and then never went.
Striker we never got.
We said lots of things. We're going to aim for the Champions League, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And yet he never followed through on it, because he allowed people like the CEO to remain, who wasn't good enough. And he allowed, Bill Kenwright to dictate some stuff, and went over there. Bill Kenwright said when Bill Kenwright didn't agree with maybe Sam Allardyce and Rafa Benitez, Moshiri and Usmanov did it anyway. So you've got to get people in who are good, empower them, and then you've got to live that. If you say we want to win the Premier League, you've got to live that then. You've got to live it out.
He's trying,
yeah, that's it. And listen, you may as well aim for it. And
he did give us a Fab Four, though.
He did give us a Fab Four. He did. Corrins, who's a YouTube member, says the manager needs to go. He hasn't won enough football matches, and that's just a fact. Tav says, this is awesome news today. We've been through the ringer as a fan base for the past few decades. Up the Toffees. Chicken Lip says, greeting from Dubai. by the way, lads, Christmas brunch here tomorrow and I'll be attending in a full Everton kit, boots and shinies. Is right.
Respect it.
Go and enjoy it. I will respect that. Absolutely. Okay. Celtic Vape says I'll have a blue Christmas without Dyche. Okay. 8 managers since Moyes, James Malcolm says.
Is that true?
It's 8 permanent, isn't it? It's, if you include Dunk twice Nunsworth, it's 11, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 8.
Yeah. Gavin says, no way Keane, Decore and others should have their contracts renewed. Well, that again, who knows what'll happen. It'll probably be different now, won't it? I imagine they'll have an idea of what they want to do, and that could be, the squad could look very different, couldn't it? Because there's lots who are leaving, and I don't imagine they'll make Jack Harrison's move permanent, so he'll be going and things like that. So
so far, I wouldn't imagine Lindstrom's being done
no.
either.
I mean, he's saying all the right things. I want to stay, and I hope they keep me in this.
He seems class, but he's not really showing it yet.
Yeah.
But you never know what happens in the second half season.
No. Corin says, can we buy some players with pace pass? Oh, God, imagine it. Absolutely, imagine it. It's almost like people don't understand at the club that that's quite important in a Premier League, that you need to have pace. Because we just haven't got any, have we?
No, there's none.
It's as simple as that. Ian says, I just want to see attractive winning football again instead of hoofing it Dyche style. Where are we? Here. Buck says, nice Christmas present for all Evertonians worldwide. Going away for 2 weeks for Christmas and New Year. I can now go away with a smile on my face. Well, have a good time, Buck. Where am I? There. Have a good time. Enjoy it. Emma says, I'm defo not a goth, but fishnets are not only for goths. That is correct, Emma. That is correct. Rob says, you're not a goth if you don't like The Cure, Early the Cult and Cradle of Filth. Fact. Okay. Steve P says, definitely not a backup left back. If someone's coming in to be Michalenko's backup, then he's clearly not good enough, because Michalenko himself isn't good enough to be starting for us, and we all know it. It needs an instant upgrade. A good left back who could attack would improve this team drastically. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. We need an attacking left back. There's no question about it. It changes the whole dynamic of the team.
Have you seen how well that Niels and Kunku's been doing since he left? Which is a shame, isn't it?
He couldn't defend, no, but then again, if you've got the other areas of the pitch, like, you don't need to, really. You can work on that.
Sort of the opposite of Michalenko, isn't he? Combine into you've got some left back.
Tom says the foundations will be there, Bramley-Moore. No debt, rich owners, low squad wages. It'll now come down to recruitment. Chicken Lips says Frank would be a perfect fit for us. But, yeah. Oh, well, that's it, isn't it? It's whether or not Everton actually went for him and what would Brentford want for him. That's the reality. They might say, like, he's worth 15 million to us. You pay it for a player, so why wouldn't you pay it for a manager? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And that, I don't know whether Everton could or would do that. Who knows?
Would you predict as well, though, that Brentford have got a worst case scenario? They've already got managers planned, like the way Brighton did that if someone came in for Thomas Frank, because there was all them rumours that United wanted them for a while. So I imagine around then they were looking at other managers to get. Yeah,
good clubs should have regression planning, shouldn't they? Because anyone can go at any time. Do you know what I mean? Anyone can go, I don't fancy it anymore, I'm leaving. Doesn't mean you're going to another club. You might just, Thomas Frank, he's been there a long time. Is it 10 years? Or it's certainly something like 8 years, I think. That might even be longer than that. And he's got there and he might go, I've sort of done everything I can do here. I've took a team out the Championship.
Got them to this level.
Got them to the level. Kept them. Don't forget, didn't he lose in the playoff final the year before they went up? Sure they lost in the playoff, I might be wrong. But it felt like they were coming up and then they didn't, and then they did come up the year later, and then he's kept them in the Premier League every year. They don't spend crazy money every summer. They've recruited well. They score loads of goals. His squad, if you look at his squad, it's not amazing. You look at it and go, it's all right.
Yeah, there's a few individuals.
You've got some individuals, like the front two are good. Wisser and Brumo are good. Sharda's starting to do well now. Lewis Potter's not bad. Norgard's decent in midfield. You know, so they've done okay.
Do you think it's just a bit of investment away from reaching that next level? And it's, if you're in, you're wondering whether that investment's ever going to come? Or do they need, like, you know, the way Brighton got that 100 million for Caicedo? Do they need, like, someone to spend big on one of their players so then they can reinvest it and then reach that next level? Is that what they're waiting for?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they wanted from Tony, but they never ended up getting.
James W says, sorry, the debt isn't 300, it's 500. Well, it was 615, wasn't it? 200 to 777, that's if they have to pay it. There isn't 250 to rights and media, it's much less than that. And Everton have reduced that as well. So there'll be a reduction on that payment as well. So it's going to be around probably 300 odd million. Michael Kearney says we need speed and pace in decision making. Don't think we have smart football players in general. Yeah. Carsley's been at Brentford.
Was it Inter, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. Corin says, would you take Moyes, Baz to steady this year? I like David Moyes. I do. I really like David Moyes. He's still a big Evertonian. I think Everton would be fine with him. I do. I just think you'd be looking again. In a year, you'd start going, because you'd have to give him 18 months. He's never, my opinion, he's not coming here for 6 months to
Do you
keep
not
Everton
think
up.
that they'd be tempted to do sort of what they've done at Roma with Ranieri, where
I don't think he'd take it.
No,
I don't think he'd take it. I think he'd go,
he wants a proper job.
If I'm coming in, I want to be here. This is my club, which is what he calls it. And I want to be here. 6 months to keep you in the league, 5 months.
What about 6 months though, and then he's like a part of like the board or something like that?
Yeah, but why would he be?
I just know that on
No, I heard him say, but he wants to be the director of football, and I'm not sure that.
Because that's what they're doing with Ranieri, isn't it? Where
Yeah,
he's joining their board.
listen, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. All I'm saying is, I think if you look and go, David Moyes coming in, Everton will be fine with Moyes.
Yeah.
He's a better manager than Sean Dyche. It's proved, the facts just prove that. Forget personal opinion, the facts tell you that. Everton will be fine with him.
Yeah.
Everton will be fine
Just
with him. The reservations you have is, do you go back? He's already been in, he left 11 years ago, now you're going back for him. And it'd be like 11 and a half if we got him in January, wouldn't it? Be into the 12th year. So you're going back for a manager. And in 18 months, you might want to replace him with a younger manager who's going to take you on again. So you're almost just staying a little bit in limbo.
Again, sort of.
Or you go all in on him and you go 2.5 year contract. Off you go. What can you do? We're going to back you when we can. We do it this way, whatever. New stadium coming up. Off you go.
Yeah.
And he does it a decent. I don't know. It's
a tough one, isn't it?
He's a manager. I like David Moyes. I like him. But I understand people who go, I don't really want to go back. We've done that. And if you're talking about creating, don't forget, Everton have got a real opportunity for a reset.
Yeah.
A real opportunity for a reset.
Is he the man you want leading it?
And you can do new ground, new squad, really, because a lot of them go out the door. And you've got a chance to change what you're doing, what we're doing, what we've done. Really, it's just sort of gone, let's just grab him for a bit and see if he can do it.
Yeah.
And then let's grab him for a bit and see if he can do it. And we always sort of end up not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Literally just still being in the Premier League, but not progressing, where I think the clubs who have overtaken us and got themselves into where they want to go have had a sort of like a clear plan and have sort of gone, nah, we're doing it this way and we know where we're going. And I think that's what Everton have to do. And if Everton look and go, David Moyes is the one. David Moyes is the one we've decided we want. Then, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Then let's go all in on him. But it's if Everton haven't, and Everton are sort of going, well, he'll just come in and steady the ship again. Then didn't we just do that with Sean Dyche? And didn't we try that with Rafa Benitez? Okay, Frank Lampard. I'm not sure. I liked Frank, but as a manager, he had to go.
Yeah.
So what was the thinking with Frank Lampard then? Was it to create a new way for Everton? I don't know. But Benitez, Dyche, and then it would be Moyes are almost like sticking plasters for the moment.
Allardyce as well.
And I like Moyes. I like David Moyes. I think if you get him, you've got to go all in on him and go, you've got it for 2.5 years, and then with an option for a third if we feel like you're doing a good job. And if not, we'll replace it. But let's see. Right. Thank you very much, everyone who's joined us. Is there any more Premier comments before we go? Just very quickly. We'll be on more than a game at 2:15, by the way. Let that refresh. Come on. Hey, you. Refresh. Steve B says, the thing that baffles me most about Mykolenko is how he strikes a ball. It just never looks natural. He just swings his leg at it with no power or accuracy. The only left-footed player I've seen that doesn't have a good left foot. Everton Viking says, genuinely no point keeping him. The sooner the new manager is in, the sooner he can bed in his tactics and playing style, and the sooner we win games. And Ian the Blue says, wonder what the players are thinking now after today's news. Probably saying to Dyche, you're toast.
Early Christmas present for Patterson.
For Patterson and O'Brien, maybe. Yeah. Who knows? Listen, nothing's happened yet. He's our manager tomorrow. Let's see if we can get a result at Arsenal. It's going to be incredibly difficult, but who knows? Stranger things have happened. See you at 2:15.